Here's something that sounds completely backwards. The reason you're broke isn't because you're spending money. It's because you're stressed about money. And that stress is literally hijacking your brain and forcing you to spend even more. It's like your brain is working against you. And until you understand this, you're going to stay stuck in the same cycle. I'm going to show you the exact dollar amount where this cycle breaks. And I'm going to show you the 3 specific habits that are keeping you below that threshold, even though you probably think you're making smart decisions. My name is Megan. I'm an accountant, and here I share smart financial tips that anyone can implement today. If you've ever wondered why you feel broke even when you're making decent money, and you want to actually break this pattern instead of just reading another budgeting article that doesn't work, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button if this helps you out. Now, before we dive into the habits, let me paint you a picture of what we're actually dealing with. It's Sunday night. You're scrolling through your bank app for the 3rd time today. You've got $340 in your checking account, and it's only the 18th. Rent's paid, sure, but you've got 8 days until payday, and you need gas, groceries, and oh yeah, you just remembered you promised your friend you'd go to that birthday dinner on Thursday. You start doing the mental math. Can I skip lunch a couple days? If I only get gas for $25 instead of filling the tank, you close the app. You'll deal with it tomorrow. Here's what actually happens in your brain during that moment. There's a part of your prefrontal cortex that's supposed to handle delayed gratification and long-term planning. But when you're stressed about money, when you're constantly doing that mental math in the grocery store, or when you're checking your account multiple times a day, that part of your brain literally starts to shut down. It's not a metaphor. Researchers at Princeton found that financial stress reduces cognitive function by the equivalent of losing 13 IQ points. That's like going from well-rested to pulling an all-nighter, except you're living in that state permanently. And here's where it gets really interesting. When that happens, a different part of your brain takes over. It's the part that wants immediate relief from stress. And you know what provides immediate relief from financial stress? Spending money on something that makes you feel better right now. A coffee, takeout instead of cooking, those shoes that are on sale. Your stressed brain isn't thinking about Thursday's birthday dinner. It's thinking about the dopamine hit it can get in the next 20 minutes. This is the trap. You're stressed about money, so your brain pushes you to spend money to relieve that stress, which makes you more stressed about money, which makes your brain push you to spend more. It's a loop. And the wild part is, you think you're making rational decisions in the moment. You're justifying every purchase. I deserve this. It's only $8. I've had a hard week. But you're not actually in control. Your stressed, depleted brain is making those decisions for you. Now here's the part that will probably surprise you. There's a specific dollar amount in your bank account where this entire cycle reverses. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is in a minute, but first, you need to understand the 3 habits that are keeping you below that threshold. Habit number 1, you're bleeding money on convenience. And I don't mean the obvious stuff. I mean the tiny recurring purchases that you've completely normalized. Let me show you exactly how this works. You're tired after work. You don't want to cook, so you order food. $23 with tip and delivery. It doesn't feel significant because it's just one meal, but you do this 3 times a week. That's $276 a month. Over a year, that's $3,312. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Megan, I've heard this before. I should meal prep, I get it. But here's what most people completely miss about this habit. It's not actually about the food. It's about the decision fatigue. Every time you're hungry and tired, your depleted brain takes the path of least resistance, and that path costs $23. But here's the thing. If you had $2,000 sitting in your savings account, you'd still be tired. You'd still be hungry. But your brain wouldn't be in that stressed, depleted state. You'd have the mental energy to think, you know what? I can make pasta. It'll take 15 minutes. The difference isn't discipline. It's cognitive bandwidth, and you don't have any bandwidth left because you're constantly stressed about money. The second habit is what I call the sale trap, and this one is insidious because it feels like you're being financially smart. You see something on sale, 40% off, and you think, I'm actually saving money here. If I don't buy this now, I'll have to pay full price later. So you buy it. And you did save $30 compared to the original price. But here's what actually happened. You spent $45 on something you weren't planning to buy 5 minutes ago. That's not saving. That's just spending with better marketing. And stick with me here because this gets deeper. When you're stressed about money, your brain is desperately looking for wins. And a sale feels like a win. It triggers the same reward pathway as actually saving money, even though you're doing the opposite. I've looked at thousands of bank statements and I can always spot someone stuck in this pattern. There's a cluster of transactions at stores like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, outlets. Lots of small purchases, always under $60. And when I ask people about them, they always say the same thing. But it was such a good deal. Here's a number that will blow your mind. The average American spends $5,400 a year on non-essential purchases that were justified as deals or sales. That's $450 a month on stuff they didn't need or even really want. They just couldn't pass up the savings. Now here's the kicker. Both of these habits, the convenient spending and the sale trap, they're not character flaws. They're not about lacking discipline or being bad with money. They're symptoms of operating below a specific financial threshold where your brain literally can't function properly. And that brings me to the third habit. And this is the one that will probably make you uncomfortable because it's about something you think is harmless. You're using your credit card as a buffer, not for emergencies, for normal life. You know you don't quite have enough in checking to cover everything until payday, so you put $80 on the card, then $45, then $120. You're planning to pay it off with your next check. You always do. Except you don't always pay it all off. You pay most of it, but there's usually a little bit that rolls over. And that little bit costs you 24% APR. Let me show you what this actually costs. Let's say you carry an average balance of $1,200 on your credit card throughout the year. Not a huge amount, right? That costs you $288 in interest annually. But here's what most people don't realize. That $288 isn't just money gone. It's money that could have started breaking you out of this cycle. Because remember, we're trying to get you above a threshold, and every dollar you're paying in credit card interest is a dollar that's keeping you below it. But here's where most people mess this up, and I see it constantly. They think the solution is to just stop spending, budget harder, use more discipline, cut out coffee. And look, I'm not going to tell you that tracking your spending is bad. But if you're operating in that stressed, depleted brain state, no amount of budgeting is going to stick because you're fighting against your own neuroscience. So what's the actual solution? Remember I mentioned there's a specific dollar amount where this entire cycle reverses. Here it is, $2,467. That's the average amount researchers found that shifts people from financial stress mode to financial stability mode. Now, before you close this video thinking that's impossible, let me explain what this number actually represents and why it works. It's not about having $2,467 in your checking account all the time. It's about having that amount in a savings account that you don't touch. It's sitting there, separate from your daily spending money. And something remarkable happens when you hit this threshold. Your brain stops operating in scarcity mode. You stop checking your bank account 3 times a day. You stop doing mental math at the grocery store. And when you stop doing all of that, you stop making those stress-driven purchases that were keeping you broke. I struggled with this too until I discovered this exact threshold. I was making $58,000 a year and feeling broke constantly, and I kept trying to budget my way out of it. I tried every app, every method. Nothing stuck. Because I was trying to use discipline to fight against a brain that was operating in survival mode. But when I finally scraped together $2,500 and put it in a savings account and made a rule that I would not touch it except for genuine emergencies, something shifted. Not overnight, but within about 3 weeks, I noticed I wasn't ordering takeout as much. Not because I was forcing myself not to, but because I had the mental space to think about it and realize I didn't actually want it. I wanted the relief from stress, and I didn't need food for that anymore because the stress had decreased. Here's what happens at a psychological level. When you have that buffer, that cushion, your brain stops perceiving every financial decision as a threat. And when it stops perceiving threats, your prefrontal cortex comes back online. You can think long-term again. You can delay gratification, not because you've developed superhuman discipline, but because your brain is actually functioning the way it's supposed to. Now, you might be thinking, Megan, $2,467 sounds impossible if I can barely save $100 a month, and I hear you. But here's the thing, you're not actually unable to save $100 a month. You're spending that $100 on convenience, on sales, on credit card interest, without even realizing it. Because your stressed brain is making those decisions for you. So here's the actual path forward. First, you need to see where your money is actually going. And I don't mean making a detailed budget with 47 categories. I mean looking at your last 30 days of transactions and highlighting everything that was a stress purchase. The food delivery, the stuff you bought on sale that's still in the bag, the random Amazon orders. Add it up. I promise you it's more than $100. Second, you need to redirect that money somewhere you can't easily access it. Not your checking account. A separate savings account at a different bank if you have to. Somewhere that takes effort to get to. Start with whatever you can, even if it's $50. The goal isn't to hit $2,467 next month. The goal is to start building that buffer so your brain can start to calm down. And third, and this is critical, you need to cut off the credit card buffer habit. I know it feels necessary right now, but it's the thing that's keeping you trapped. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that's not going toward your buffer. If you're carrying a balance, your first priority isn't building savings to $2,467. It's getting that balance to zero. Then you build the buffer. Here's what this looks like in practice. Let's say you're currently spending $280 a month on food delivery, $90 on sale purchases you didn't need, and you're paying $25 a month in credit card interest. That's $395 a month that's evaporating. If you redirect even half of that, you're putting away $197.50 a month. In 12 months, that's $2,370. You're almost there. But here's where it gets really interesting. As you start to build that buffer, even before you hit the full amount, your stress decreases. And as your stress decreases, those habits start to weaken naturally. You don't need as much convenience spending because you're not as depleted. You don't fall for sales as easily because your brain isn't desperately seeking wins. It becomes a positive cycle instead of a negative one. Now let me tell you what changes when you cross that threshold. It's not that you suddenly become rich. You still have the same income, the same bills, but you walk differently. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. You go into work and you're not thinking about what happens if they let you go. You've got a cushion, you've got options, and that confidence shows up in how you negotiate, how you handle difficult conversations with your boss, how you think about your career. People with $2,500 in savings get promoted more often than people without it, not because they're smarter or work harder, because they take professional risks that broke people can't afford to take. Your relationship with purchases completely changes. You start thinking in terms of opportunity cost. That $45 shirt isn't just $45. It's $45 that could be making you feel more secure. And suddenly, that trade-off doesn't seem worth it. Not because someone's telling you not to buy it, but because you've experienced what financial breathing room feels like and you don't want to give it up for a shirt. The midnight bank account check stops. The 3 a.m. money anxiety stops. Not because all your problems are solved, but because you have enough of a buffer that your brain isn't in constant threat mode anymore. But here's the warning I need to give you. The biggest mistake people make after hitting this threshold is treating themselves. You finally get to $2,500 saved and you think, I did it. I can relax now. I deserve something nice. And you blow $800 on something you've been wanting. And just like that, you're back below the threshold. Your brain goes right back into stress mode, and all those habits come roaring back. I see this constantly. Someone works so hard to build their buffer, then they immediately destroy it because they think the hard part is over. But the hard part isn't building it. The hard part is keeping it. That money sitting in your savings account, that is your new baseline. That is the floor, not the ceiling. Everything you save above that, sure, you can think about spending some of it. But that first $2,500, that's not vacation money. That's not new TV money. That's your brain functioning properly money, and you don't mess with it. Here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. Those 3 habits, the convenient spending, the sale trap, the credit card buffer, they're not your real problem. They're symptoms. The real problem is that you're operating below the threshold where your brain can make good decisions. And until you get above that threshold, every piece of financial advice you read is going to feel impossible to follow. You don't need more discipline. You don't need a better budget app. You don't need to cut out your morning coffee. You need to build a buffer that's big enough to get your brain out of survival mode. Everything else becomes easier after that. Not easy, but easier. Start building that foundation today because your future self is counting on the decision you make right now. The you that exists 6 months from now either has a buffer and a functioning prefrontal cortex or doesn't. And that difference determines everything: your stress levels, your sleep quality, your career trajectory, your actual wealth. Your broke habits aren't keeping you broke because you're undisciplined. They're keeping you broke because your stressed brain is running the show. Change the brain state and the habits change themselves.